My name is Kody Storms, but some of you may know that wasn't always the name that I used. My friends and I had one of those virtual randomizer wheels where we put a bunch of names and we tested out a new name for me each week. So some of these included Freddie and Joey and Chucky and Axe at one point. But I was in production for a local musical at the time, and there were a lot of Caitlins and Kaylas and Catherines, and anytime I heard a name even remotely similar to the one I used, I was sent reeling. Were they talking about me? Were they talking about somebody else? Why does that name not sit right with me? The name you're given at birth should sit right with you, so what's wrong with me? I don't use that name right now, and I don't know that I'm going to use the name Kody forever. But right now, it's something that offers me a sense of peace and is a sense of my identity. But it was one of the last parts that I came across that gave me this sense of identity. Another one of the last pieces that I've recently fulfilled was starting testosterone on September 10th of 2023. So if you hear my voice crack, if it sounds grovelly, if you see me sweating, that's you seeing me closer to what I want to be seen as than I've ever been. So be patient with me. I went through 4 years understanding that something was different. I went through 4 years of putting myself into a corner of femininity and hoping that if I pushed far enough into that societal expectation, it would be real. That I just wasn't being feminine enough, that I was just different. But it was fine. It was normal. It had to be. Everyone had to have these thoughts that something is off. But when your mind is telling you something, you need to listen to it. I would look into a mirror and I would see nothing. I mean, there was a physical something, of course. There was a reflection. But I looked in a mirror and I saw a thing. I had no sense of identity. For me, when I looked in a mirror, I was not seeing a reflection of myself. I was seeing a reflection that society was pushing onto me. And every time I looked in a mirror, or every time I looked at myself or heard my name, it hurt. So I went into spring of 2022 with this lacking sense of identity and this constant hurt in my heart. And I took a class on queer film theory. And in this class, we had this photo series project on camp, which, for those of you who don't know what camp is, it's not tents and it's not s'mores. Camp, in the sense of queer identity, is this idea that society's rules and expectations are so ridiculous that drag is normal, that doing something absurd and setting it outside of any expectations, that's reality, that's drama, that's fun. Being queer and being camp can be fun, and it doesn't have to fit a certain mold. So we did this photo series, and my group and I decided we're going to dress up as drag performers who are getting ready for a show, and we're going to go trash a public bathroom. So we went into a men's public bathroom, we sat on urinals, we covered the mirror in lipstick, we had fake cigarettes, we were throwing insults at each other to fit the vibe, and I dressed as this masculine character that I'd created. So I was in jorts that went over my knees, I was in a vest that I felt very masculine in. I had done makeup that squared out my face really heavily. I'd researched videos of drag kings. And I went into that photo series saying, there's a person there. Where did this person come from? So we went to present this photo series to our class, and all I could see on that screen was me and my packer, which is, for those of you who don't know what a packer is, a bunch of socks as a fake junk in my underwear that I'm holding in front of a nasty urinal. And that was so real to me. There was this visceral draw to who I was seeing on the screen. I could feel something dragging out of my soul and into my body that I needed to see. This was the closest I'd ever felt to seeing somebody real there. So I held on to that. I auditioned for a local drag show, and for this audition, I went to a rather conservative county fair dressed in a binder and dressed hyper-masculine in my makeup again and acting gross and gritty, like a womanizer, and this camp version of what I saw a man as. So I have this video of me just eating corn. It just...
Yeah. That's how you should get all items.
That's all it is. And I'm so in love with that video. And every time I watch it, I just feel real joy at being alive, of seeing myself just eating and being gross and being in this public space and being seen as masculine in one form or another. I knew there was something there that I had to continue with. So I performed in this local drag show. I ended up winning fan favorite, and that smile on my face was the most real smile I'd had in years. That simple joy in creating a character was more real than anything I'd felt in so long. I created this character, Lightning Storms McKing, and I wore cheap makeup and cheap costume pieces, and I stood in front of the stairs waiting for my music to turn on. The room was full black. There were over 400 people there in this auditorium. And the music starts, the lights start, and I get up on stage and I realize I'm a person in this body, that this body is mine, and that who I am now, performing on this stage, humping a hat, wearing assless chaps, dancing around like a goon, that was so raw. And that this character, Lightning Storms McKing, that I had created was closer than I'd ever felt to a sense of self and of identity, even in this absurdity. So now, I continue to do drag, and that smile there is real, and that smile is from a month ago. That's September 29th, 2023, and I'm surrounded by friends that love me, and I can look at this picture and say that I do love myself, and that I'm standing here in front of you and that I do love myself. And that's something I have to continuously work on, and that's something I've been working on since I realized 4 years ago that not everyone thinks this way. That if there's something in your identity that your mind is telling you about your body, you need to listen. Because somebody's gonna see you. They saw me. And these people love me, and I love them. And I love this character that I created more than anything in the world. And drag to me was this genuine life beyond any sort of rules set out by society, beyond any rules set out by gender, beyond anything that I could have comprehended for myself. I was able to use this to change my name. I was able to use this to start testosterone. I was able to use this to stand here in front of you and tell you that I love who I am and who I'm becoming. And I want you to know, if you're out there right now, I see you. I want you to know that you sitting there questioning things, wondering if it's okay, it is. Because at the end of the day, people are gonna love you. And you can love yourself. You can sit in that feeling, because I've been on both sides of it. And I know that there's an end to it. I know that there's love at the end of it. And I do care about each and every one of you. And I want you to see this and see this character that I created and this joy that I felt, and know that sometimes it takes a leap into the absurd to see who you are. Sometimes it takes stepping out into something that feels ridiculous to know that I am who I am as a person, and I do see myself in the mirror. I can look in a mirror now and say, that's Kody. Or in makeup, I can say, that's Lightning. And that's a person. I am here as a person, and I love who I am in a masculine identity, as something that I had to push, to fight, to battle into, to create this for myself. So I see you, and I'm here for you. And sometimes taking that step, even if it's risky and even if it doesn't work, it's gonna settle you into a place where you know who you are. My name is Kody Storms, and I use they, ze, and he pronouns. Thank you.